One of the greatest principles I believe that life has to offer is the principle of honoring authority. My name is Linda Mwaniki and you are watching CITAM Church Online right here at Youth Cafe. Now guys, God has given us a guideline for honoring authority, and you may say that your authority could be your guardian, could be your parent, could be your leader, could be any person that God has placed above you that you are working or that you are serving under. But the question is, what does God say about our conduct and how we should be able to handle ourselves with working with guys who are way above us, guys who are our leaders, guys who we look up to? I'll be reading from the scripture of 1 Peter chapter 2 from verse 13 to 14, specifically the Amplified Version. And it says, "Submit yourselves to the authority of every human institution for the sake of the Lord, to honor his name, whether it is to a king or to one in a position of power, or to governors as sent by him to bring punishment to those who do wrong and to praise and encourage those who do right." So I'd like to share with you guys just two things about submitting and what exactly submitting means. We can say that obedience is submitting. Whenever you are given a task by this person who is right above you, or this person who is in authority of you, scripture requires that we actually obey. However, we may be finding ourselves in a situation where this task that we're probably given, all in the name of it may be right. When you actually look at scripture and shed the light of God in that particular situation, you realize that, well, I could actually be compromising. This may actually not be the right way to go. But the thing is, guys, be confident enough. Be confident enough to face it head on and to say, you know what? This is not according to my principle as a Christian, and I should stand for what is right. Do not fear having to, do not lower your standard in order for you to meet that requirement that your leader requires you to do. Number two, I'd like us to talk about covering. We cover our leaders in two specific ways. The first one is praying for them. I strongly believe that we need to pray for our leaders, because our leaders get guidance from God. There are very many examples in the Bible where we can find that specific leaders got instructions from God. They get direction from God. In order for them to lead us, we need to pray for them so that God can shed the light of his wisdom and his knowledge and his understanding upon them, so they can be able to guide us. The second point about submitting and covering our leaders is whenever we find ourselves in a situation whereby the people we work with or the people around us, depending on the person that you are serving under, could be gossiping about them, gossiping about our leaders, or even spreading rumors about them. Guys, I want to challenge you today. In life, I have realized that this is a principle that God solemnly honors. He truly, truly honors. I challenge you today, don't go around bad-mouthing about your leader. Cover them in that situation. Whenever you find people are talking about them, cover them. Cover them by choosing to be silent. Cover them by choosing not to take part in that toxic conversation. The reason as to why we submit and honor to authority is not for our leaders to give a special, requirement for us or to favor us better than other people. The reason as to why we honor authority is because, just as we read in the scripture, it honors God himself. And this pushes God to bless us. This pushes God to say, you know what, because this person has honored a principle that I have laid out in life, then I am going to bless them. I am going to extend my hand of honor, of blessing upon them, and I'm going to bless them as my child, as my son, and as my daughter. So I want to challenge you today. Honor the authority that God has set before you. We just read that God says submit to all authority, and God here is saying that it's not a plea he's giving us. It's not a request that God is giving us. It's actually a command that God is giving us today, that we should honor the authority that He has laid out for us. Every human institution, God requires us to honor them. God requires us to cover them in prayer. God requires us to cover them in our words. God requires us to cover them through obedience, to submit to them through obedience, that we may also, so that God can also be glorified. And the best way to do this is once we get into, when you get to in a relationship with God, you know, when you get to understand more about God and who God is and the sovereignty of God, you get to understand that He is the all supreme being. He's the all supreme giver of authority. He is the one who is in charge of all authority. And once that happens and you're able to honor God, then you're able to get an understanding of honoring also the authority that God has placed out for each and every one of us. So you could be watching this video and you're reflecting in your life and you're saying that, well, there's a particular person who is above me, is in authority of me, and I have failed to honor them. Probably you failed to obey something that they had asked you to do. Guys, you know, the thing is, it's not difficult for you. It wouldn't hurt you to go and apologize. I believe a principle of apology is that it brings out the maturity in you when you apologize to someone. It shows that you are mature enough, you have acknowledged your fault, you have acknowledged your wrong. It shows a nobility, it brings out the noble character in you. You could also be watching this video and you're saying, well, I am serving under a leader, but I haven't really prayed for them. I haven't prayed for them that God is going to guide them with His wisdom, that God is going to shed His light of knowledge and understanding upon them so they can be able to guide and lead me even in my purpose and in my divine agenda for God in my life. So I encourage you today, pray for your leaders. I would like to also encourage you that you should also cover them. When you find yourself in that setting where guys are bad-mouthing them, you know what, just cover your leaders, talk well about them, and I believe that God is going to bless you for honoring this particular principle. Engage with us on CITAM Church Online. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your comments. We'd love to hear your testimonies. You can engage with us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and you can also subscribe on our YouTube channel. We are looking forward to hearing from each and every one of you. My name is Linda Mwaniki, and you are watching CITAM Church Online right here at Youth Cafe.